Alright, welcome back. Just joining us still today in the news on Vanguard. My name is Precious Chukudi and alright, let's just move straight to the newspaper analysis, and we'll be starting off with the Katsina abduction. 344 students freed. That's what the state government is saying. And the Abdul Director General Miyetti Allah to the Katsina State Governor Aminu Masari confirmed the release of the students to Vanguard last night. He said the children were being transported from the bush where the bandits released them. And if you can remember, the students were kidnapped by Boko Haram, which attacked the school last Friday. Before the students were freed, a distraught teenager and student of the school in KANKARA had earlier in the day, in a video by Boko Haram, called on the governor Aminu Masari of the state to disband the local vigilante groups, withdraw troops, and cancel formal schools in the state. And also, speaking in English and Hausa in the video seen by AFP, the boy said he was among 520 students taken by the gang of Abu Shekau. And Boko Haram, in two separate videos as earlier shown, showed the schoolboys seized in a mass kidnap in KANKARA and had claimed responsibility for the abduction. The last Friday attack on the rural school in KANKARA was initially blamed on criminals known as bandits who have terrorized the region for years. And this also came as a ruling APC party accused an unnamed governor in one of the northwest states of being behind the increased wave of banditry in the region. Meanwhile, the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, Prince Uche's Secondus, teamed up with hundreds of women and youth to demand the immediate and safe rescue of the abducted students. And in another development, Coalition of Northern Group shelved its plan, #BringBackOurBoys, street protests to demand action for the immediate rescue of the school children. And looking at what's been going on with the whole KANKARA incident, we've been talking about it since last week Friday. Yes. That it started, and all I can say is I think for the parents of those boys and Nigerians at large are excited to see that these children are back. But then with all of this excitement going on about the release of these boys, there are a lot of situations surrounding the story. The fact that the governor yesterday made mention of the fact that Miyetti Allah was going to be used as they're going to be used as federal government negotiators to get the boys back. There are a lot of questions we ask. How were these boys released? Was money paid, like a ransom or something, or they just released them? Of which most people would definitely beg the question of, can the Boko Haram people really release this boy freely without collecting some form of ransom?
Yeah, why did they go through the stress of kidnapping them? They're just going to release them without ransom.
And also the story of, we've had the case of the Chibok girls, the Dachi girls, and still they still the hashtag bring back our girls still trending, of the likes of Leah Sharibu, who refused to denounce her religion, still being held captive by these Boko Haram insurgents, and also other girls who are yet to be reunited with their parents. Why was it so easy for the government to get across these terrorists and then release the KANKARA boys, and the likes of Leah Sharibu is yet to be released, the likes of other girls who were also kidnapped are still yet to be released? What was the form of approach that the government used to get these boys? What was this form of approach that they did not use for the Dachi school girls, and also for the Chibok girls? So these are the questions. But I think that we're supposed to have a guest who's supposed to join us, and I can see that he's available. So we're just going to try to link up with him so we can ask him some of these questions. All right, we have our guest joining us via Zoom. He's in the person of Mr. Gbenro Olajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Good morning, sir. It's good to have you join us this morning.
It's a pleasure being with you.
All right, we're hearing, sounds of joy, if I can say that, about the KANKARA boys that have been released this morning, and they were released yesterday rather, and we saw a video of the Boko Haram people when they put out that video of where a student of the school called on the governor, that's Aminu Masari, to disband the local vigilante groups, withdraw troops, and cancel formal schools in the state. What's your take on that situation?
Well, let me first of all congratulate the parents of these children who are extremely lucky to have their children back. We thank God for that, and of course we thank all people that made that possible. But let me quickly say too that we should begin to contextualize the issue of extremism, the extremists themselves, Boko Haram, by knowing that diversification has taken place. Boko Haram has substantially left Sambisa forest and spread across the country, to the extent that some people have become the commercial arm of Boko Haram. Whether you call them bandits or whatever you call them, the fact is that there is a seamless flow between Boko Haram and the so-called bandits, who are integral part of the Boko Haram syndrome. I'm saying this because those that have escaped into the interior, into the nation itself, what they actually do now is to kidnap their victim, and at the same time threaten those those who have responsibility for care for those children or for adults, that if they don't pay ransom, they are going to transfer those people to the insurgents. They are one and the same. It's only that what is happening is that Boko Haram now can be said to have commercial arm that negotiates on his behalf. Even in this, they might be softer than Boko Haram in the sense that if that ransom is paid and substantially paid, they transfer the money to fund extremism and to all the machineries of this infernal terror that we are talking about. So they are the same. It's only that what they have now is what you call in economic division. So that's what's going on, and people should begin to see this crisis within this context of tragic diversification that have taken place in Nigeria, and in the context of the fact that even the terror group, they need money to fund their own operation as we are getting further, getting stronger on them. And that should tell you that that's why they have their own department that we often refer to as bandits.
All right, the ABC party has challenged security agencies to investigate an intelligence report linking a Northwest governor to the heightened cases of banditry, abductions, and other violent crimes in the zone. What do you think? Because before now, we've had a couple of people who have come out, some very reputable people come out to say that some,
but who is going to investigate? Who is going to investigate if this thing is true? The fact is this: everyone that matters in this conundrum is involved with what I call the political economy of terror in Nigeria. The political economy of terror. Some people are definitely benefiting, whether they are in political position or they are not. But I can say that because that is the trajectory of a lasting war like this. A war that has been so prolonged that we have invested a lot in order to liquidate it, and rather than getting subdued, it's escalating day in, day out. That should tell you that it has a very critical element of political economy. But who is perpetrating that? I might not be able to isolate that. But if the government is actually serious about caging this terror, it should look at all ramifications. But I've said that the conspiracy theory will always be there as long as you have a uni-ethnic security apparatus that you have in terms of those who manage and operationalize security in Nigeria are ethnocentric. That is just the fact, and people will begin to look at all manners of theories, whether conspiracy, whether market-driven theories, whether political contextual theories. All these theories will begin to emerge until we sit down and we begin to hold this nation. A nation that is not owned, will be perpetually insecure. That is just the fact. Nigeria is not owned, and it's not owned because we have leaders that do not create atmosphere for one Nigeria, leaders that do not create atmosphere for unity, leaders that do everything to violate all principle and ethic of integration. So as long as that continues, our security trajectory will become a function of mutual suspicion and mutual conspiracy. All right, I can't rule out, and I can't exempt anybody, whether you're a governor, whether you're a president, whether you're an ordinary citizen. Anybody could be contributing to the oiling of the infernal machine that Boko Haram has become in Nigeria.
All right, if you go on social media right now on Twitter, there's the hashtag Boko Haram and also the hashtag #SCH'BOYS that's been trending. And the reason why this is going on is because people are talking about the swiftness of how the government was able to, bring back these Kankara boys, and the story is different for the Chibok girls. The likes of Leah Sharibu is still, in the custody of these Boko Haram. Why is it that till now we are not able to, get some of these Chibok girls who are still being held captive, as well as the likes of Leah Sharibu? And also, I would also like to answer that question. And also, the governor, that's Governor Masari, made mention that Miyetti Allah was going to be federal government's negotiators as a result of these Kankara boys that were kidnapped. What are your thoughts on these two questions?
Well, what I will say, putting myself in the shoe of the parents of these children first, in putting myself in the shoe of the parents, I will just say that once I wasn't, but now I can see. Once I could not see my child or children, now I can see them. That is from the perspective of a parent. But from the perspective of government, it is sad, absolutely sad and sorrowful that we are still talking of Chibok girls 6 years after they were captured. It is sad that we are still talking of Leah Sharibu almost after 3 years of her being kidnapped and being retained. He is being retained, and government has done nothing about that. But that does not remove from the sources or swift sources of the regain of freedom of the Kankara boys. So we should quickly begin to situate this. If they can be as fast and as swift as this in getting these other people, well, we will have been happy. But the fact is this: protection, unity, they are all marks of state. They should not have been kidnapped in the first place. That is what we are saying. Government should become proactive, should take control of security and not be responsive, and not government should be in its attack against Boko Haram. It should be offensive in defense and protection of the citizen. Government should be strategically not reactive should be proactive. That is what we are demanding from the government. And that is what a normal government should. Nobody should praise government for being sweet in a particular action. That is the responsibility in the first place. If your citizen is kidnapped, a serious government will recover that citizen within 24 hours. So let anybody not read anything into it that they were sweet in this and sweet in that. Now that they could do this, our demand should be to rescue Leah Charibu. Our demand should be for them to rescue the remaining Chibok girls and all others on song that have been kidnapped within the geography of this terror.
The reason why people are talking about them being swift is because of the case of Chibok girls and Dapchi girls. Seeing that the Charibu is still there. But away from that, let's talk about what the former president Olusegun Obasanjo just said yesterday. He said that Nigeria needs good leadership, to tackle the security challenges confronting the country. Now, of course, President Olusegun Obasanjo is a leader himself. So, what do you think about this coming from him?
Leadership that should be provided. The person who is expected to provide this leadership is President Muhammadu Buhari, because he controls the armed forces. Aside from that, he has all the tools and instruments to trigger what I've been calling security, responding to specific needs of citizens. For example, I can't say it enough. The army of unemployed Nigerian young people is intimidatingly frightening. When you see thousands and millions of youth who have nothing to do and you are not bothered, when you see them even job alone, what we are saying is that there must be comprehensive plan to accommodate them in the circle, in the bracket of education, accommodate them in the bracket of innovation, create innovative centers where they can be, they can learn, they can innovate, they can be supported to ensure, especially the scientists and technologists. This is required of a serious government that is having a existential problem in his hand.
Okay.
Not saying that they should go and take 30,000 for what do they call the job. I can't remember the type of job they create now. That they are creating.
Okay, Mr. Agbero, you're talking about problems that Nigeria is currently facing. Let's talk about COVID-19. We've witnessed the spikes in numbers of infection, both home and abroad, and the federal government expressed concerns at the resurgence of the pandemic, saying its earlier decision to reopen the economy, may have to be reviewed again. That's what Nigerians are having issues with. Like, what do you think about this?
Well, it's sad that we're having the second wave, but other countries are already having the third wave. Forgetting, even this second wave is deadlier than the first. Yeah. So we should still observe the protocol. We should still wash our hands, cover our nose, mouth, and at the same time maintain social distance. I think it's absolutely getting impossible in Nigeria, especially for a people that have been economically beaten into surrender. So it's very difficult for them in the context of economic recession. But let me say, the issue of second closing down of the country will not work in the first place. It won't work because it's not obeyable. It's not obeyable because people cannot eat, and you can't force them to remain when they cannot eat. That is just the reality. Even if it's announced by the president today, I'm afraid that many people will not obey it, and it's going to resort to a lot of violence if we want to enforce such law. For a people that are hungry, that are angry, that cannot get anything to support and sustain their existence.
Okay,
so
Mr. Agbero,
you can't kill them. It's just like deep.
You talked about Nigerians are angry. They are hungry. Now, there are a lot of challenges that we're really facing now, like their security, economy, and political stability, among others. And it seems this COVID-19, many Nigerians don't really believe in it, because now if you ask an average Nigerian, what they will tell you is only people that are sick, that that can contract the disease. And this is the Yuletide season now. Parties, there's going to be a lot of gatherings. Now, what can the government do to convince people that this disease is real, in order to minimize the spread of the pandemic disease?
It's not. Maybe people don't get the context with Nigerians are. We are talking of a country that 75% of them are almost irredeemably poor in terms of absolute poverty. We are talking of a country that the World Bank has stated that before this year closes, another 7% of Nigerians will enter the poverty bracket. And if that is so, that means that the option between Nigeria now, option A, that if you are not killed by economic recession, you will be killed by insecurity. If you are not killed by insecurity, you will be killed by COVID. So Nigerians have come to a level that they say, all dead, all die and die. So the choice is between the blue deep sea and the devil. It's a very terrible and tragic options that are before Nigerians. And that is why I'm saying that Nigeria would prefer to go out and get their food. If they want to die, well, they are not afraid. Nobody can give them any conviction about COVID. Look, when a man is already on the floor, when he's sleeping on mat, he's no longer afraid of falling. So until we begin to have Nigeria's life, the premium on average Nigeria's life is high. Nobody, they are not going to value it.
All right, let's just talk about something on the lighter note. The IGP promotes 4,134 traffic warden officers, and the question is now: do you see it as a way of curbing some of the ills of the complaints that we have about the police force?
Well, it's still part of. I equally just want to salute. I said those who are. I salute the dedication of most of these traffic warding. If you see some of them under rain, under sun, and everything, you will appreciate what they are doing. But we should begin to think, and this is what we are saying: nation cannot continue like this. When we were young, yellow fever, they continue to do this work. By now, the work is to be done by robots on our roads. Road control robots and not human kinetic energy being wasted on the road. We should begin to look at things properly, especially in densely populated area, high traffic environment. We should begin to look at that option rather than wasting man's hours under sun, under rain, some of them dancing creatively on the road, and we appreciate what they are doing, but we should think beyond this human mechanical what do you call the non-digital method of responding to traffic management issues.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Olajigbe, Executive Director of Emergency and Risk Alert. Thank you for joining us this morning.
It's a pleasure being with you.
All right,
Good morning, Precious and Danny,
okay,
and your crew members.
Yeah. Okay, let's take Mr. and Mrs. Mr. seems to be saying something quite interesting this morning. He says, I thank God for his protection and blessings all these years. May this family enjoy many years on earth in good health and prosperity. And Mrs. replies, may he also protect this family from baby mamas, slave mamas, stray mamas, and all strange mamas. Well, talking about men and their extra side pieces. I've not heard of stray mamas before.
I've not, but it seems we're just hearing it for the first time from Mrs. But it's a nice prayer from Mrs.
Do you think how many men do you think would say amen to this kind of prayer.
No. Some they will actually tell you amen, but in their mind they will tell you, are you not the one praying for it?
You know how we keep
it's
hearing,
just different.
You know how we keep hearing that Nigerian men are so polygamous in nature. But then still a shout out to Dada Adekola. He's the cartoon editor. Today happens to be his birthday. He's one that gives us all the interesting Mr. and Mrs. every day.
Yes.
A shout out to you, sir, and we hope that you know keep giving us. Maybe this time around you share money on the cartoon episode.
No, it will be a welcome idea for people. But of course, happy birthday to him. It's always nice because these pieces, no matter the stories are always on the front page. Sometimes you just look at it and you won't be able to smile. But he putting this, it's putting a smile on your face naturally. But putting money also, the way they say women and money. But it's always nice. So
alright, shout out to you, Mr. Dada Adekola. Thank you so much for what you do on Mr. and Mrs. And remember that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. As well as you can find our up-to-date stories. You can go on our website www.vanguardngl.com to find out more. It's a Friday, how we say it.
Thank God it's Friday.
So ensure you get your weekend right and ensure that you are staying safe because COVID-19 is on the increase. I mean, we saw the numbers this morning. Ensure that you are wearing your face mask, you're washing your hands because you do not want to be treating COVID in this festive period. Till we come your way next time, I remain Precious Chukudi and
Damnalo Mashaki.
Thank you for watching. Face total shutdown nationwide. See page 5.
She overwhelmed by security challenges.
Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard. Here on Today in the News,
we read and give in-depth analysis on some of the stories on the front pages of the paper.
Also take your insightful comments of what's going on here in Nigeria and across the world. Join us Mondays through to Friday
on Vanguard Live.